Rasty McGibbon with Lou Gamelin here prior to the ACHA Women's Division I matchup. The doctor needs a consult, and so Lou's the guy I call. Lou, probably there are a lot of people that have been here over the last 4 or 5 days that would not have anticipated it would be these two teams in the national final. Number one in Liberty getting knocked off last night.
Right.
Number two in Midland getting knocked off yesterday afternoon. So we got the 3-4 Adrian playing Minot. First of all, talk about how you think that I'm like the refreshing of a national champion is helpful to the women's D1.
Well, I think it's huge for it. I mean, you get a team that's always there. Nobody can seem to beat them. It just, people don't want to watch the same teams every year. It's true in any sport. It's nice to have some fresh teams in there, some fresh blood, for lack of a better word. And, Liberty, my hat's off to them. They had a heck of a run. You and I talked about it last night. They didn't have the puck luck last night.
No, they didn't.
It's been that way for them the whole tournament. 146 shots, I think they had.
In 2 games, right?
In 2 games. Yeah. The post definitely wasn't their friend. So, yeah, I think it's very important for D1 women's hockey. You've got schools from different parts of the country now that get a chance to play for the big prize. The state of Michigan and, of course, North Dakota, which North Dakota's turned into a ACHA hotbed for hockey, at all different divisions.
It's interesting, through this tournament, I think there are some, flying under the radar hockey states that I really wasn't aware of. We've always known about Michigan, we've always known about the Northeast, but really, Montana's emerging.
Yes.
I think Missouri is emerging, and I definitely think that that in men's and women's of Dakota, North Dakota especially is.
It's funny, you talk to the coaches there, Ryan Miner, Dan Huntley, all of them, Wyatt Wasylenchuk. They get packed houses all the time for men and women. And I keep getting invited to go out there. And I keep trying to find a good weekend when the weather isn't too bad to be able to drive or fly out there. But it is a hotbed. It's so much fun. And also, like in Arizona, it's really starting to take off down there with Arizona State and Grand Canyon and Arizona. It's all over. And it's a great sign for the ACHA.
Do you think that the fact that Minot State has had to play 3 games of overtime and was on the ice 13 or 14 hours ago is going to become a factor?
I think it might. It's the key for Adrian, I think, as I talked to their coach for just a moment this morning, is they got to jump out early. If they jump out early and they do the same thing they did to Midland yesterday, kind of get them off their game, get into their heads a little bit. When you start to get a little mental fatigue, that's one thing that Minot's going to have to worry about. You can only play with adrenaline so long. I go back, Rasty, to last year in the men's D2 final when Iowa made that incredible run, played in double overtime against Indiana the day before, and they went up against Amherst, and you could tell they ran out of gas, in the end of the first period, beginning of the second period. And I think you saw that in Midland yesterday. And yeah, Minot playing, what in a sense is 4 extra periods of hockey, over the last 3 days.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. What are one of the keys that I had the opportunity of speaking with assistant coach Keith Martell, and then with Carter Clark from Adrian this morning. Limiting extra man opportunities both ways are going to be imperative.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, we saw it in the games yesterday. You can't. What really surprised me, Rasty, is at the end of the periods how many penalties have been taken in the last minute and a half. We saw it with Liberty against Arizona State the other night. If it wasn't for that end of the game penalty, they had the 6-on-4 opportunity because they pulled their goaltender. Arizona State might be sitting here talking to Adrian, or we might be talking to them about playing in a title game. So that's a great point. You get 5-on-5 is key. You can't give anybody any extra opportunities, and that includes mistakes, in their own zone too.
Last question. From sitting up in the crow's nest where you are calling hockey for so long, tell me about the elevation of women's hockey in this league, in the ACHA.
Oh my goodness, Rasty, where do you begin? 10 years ago I started covering it, and it was a slower brand of hockey, let's be honest. I mean, it's picked up, the talent level is picked up, it's quicker, I mean, they're just more disciplined, I think. And, you know, I think part of the reason, too, is how well the ACHA has marketed the product to, you know, the junior level for the women and the men. I mean, you're getting more talented players here. You know, they tell them, come to the ACHA schools, you can get a degree, you know, you can further your education and still play hockey for, you know, 2 to 4 to 5 years now.
Yeah.
And I think it's a wonderful thing. And that, to me, is the key. You're getting that higher tier of hockey player at the women's level. And, you know, we're getting more and more teams, and the competition's better, and it's great for the sport.
I agree. Well, Lou, thanks for this.
Hey, if you can indulge me for 30 seconds,
Go.
I just want to thank my wife for, she's watching, and
Yeah.
you know, and our families for letting us do this for 2 weeks. Thank you.
Lou Gamelin, consult, always appreciated. The real Captain Lou, Rasty McGibbon, ACHA Women's Division I National Championship 2024.